Okay, so we are now live back on YouTube. So, good sir, I have you on the show. You wanted to know specifically about the SSI Restoration Act and what's happening with being able to earn more money and work a job while on SSI, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I can barely hear you, but here's the deal. With this rule, they're allowing you to earn around $400 to $416 per month, which means that basically you'll be able to go ahead and earn at a job a small amount of money. Well, not yet, because for SSI, yeah, so the deal is basically on SSI, you can't right now earn additional funds other than essentially $20 plus $65. But if the SSI Restoration Act goes ahead and passes, you'll be able to earn up to around $400 to $416 per month, as opposed to just earning around $20 plus 65 being $85 per month. So if the SSI Restoration Act passes, you'll be able to earn around $400 to $416 per month, and it won't hurt you. That means you could get a part-time job, earn some cash, and be good to go. But it can't be more than that $400 to $416 per month, because every dollar, or rather $2 that you earn over that, will take away $1 from your benefits. So remember, with the SSI Restoration Act, you'll be able to earn up to around $400 to $416 per month. And then on top of that, every $2 you earn, they'll take away $1 from your benefits.
Yeah.
All righty, good sir. That's what that is. The act has not passed yet. We don't know when it's going to pass, but I'm guessing the Democrats are going to want to push it, because here's the thing. If the Democrats don't push through the SSI Restoration Act, it's going to piss off a lot, and I mean a lot, 8 million people on SSI. And what will happen is they'll be going into essentially the December holiday season without money. That's at a higher level. And what will happen is they'll then be going into the 2022 election season. And if Biden loses one senator, or I think it's 7 House reps, he will lose his majority. Just takes one senator, which means that President Biden, if he does not win the 2022 election cycle, will end up as a lame duck president. So 2022 elections are just as important as the 2024 elections. Okay?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy, I agree. But good sir, I will catch you later. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye. Okay, we have the next call coming in. This is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Also, would you like me to answer a specific question or run hearing questions with you?
A specific question, please.
Perfect, good sir. How can I help you?
John Hess, I had a notice for overpayment a few months ago. It was for a period in early 2019, about 3 months there. It was for excess resources. And then also again through, I think, early last year. And in the notice of overpayment, it also said that I should appeal, just based for some difference in because of the whole COVID thing, probably regarding the stimulus payments. And for the period last year, it was the stimulus payments. We went through this twice with them, where they claimed there was an overpayment because of the stimulus payments in the bank account that I had not taken out. And then they did correct it, but it did happen twice. My question was, if they do update the resource limit greater than it is now, currently in 2000, would it? It's currently under reconsideration. That was submitted in, I believe, May, and I haven't heard back from them since, and I don't know when I will hear back from on the decision for reconsideration. But if they raise the resource limit above what it is now, do you suppose they would still attempt to collect overpayment? The resource limit would be in excess of what it is now. I'm not sure if I'm stating that clearly.
No, I got you. You want to know that if they go ahead and pass it from 2,000 to 3,000 up to the 10,000 to 20,000, will they forgive you for back in the day having too much, and then basically get rid of the overpayment? Correct?
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Okay, so good, sir. First and foremost, it's not written into the bill right now to be like that. So as it stands right now, it's almost certain that you'd still have to pay it back. However, let me ask you this. How much is the amount for?
The total amount from the two periods combined within the same overpayment notice is around $5,500. About $3,000 of that, I believe, is because of the resources they had already they tracked from the stimulus payments that they've already twice realized they made an error and corrected. The other period is for about 4 months in early 2019, I believe it is. So the total would be $5,500 total, about $3,000, $2,000.
Okay, so here's the thing. Have you already submitted your 632 form and talked with them about a reduction in payment or a reduction in the total amount that's due?
Only so far as having submitted for reconsideration, no other action.
All right, go get the SSA 632 form. You're going to argue on your behalf, do a little bit of research as to potential arguments that you could be using. But your main form of contact at this point is you're going to try and seek a reduction in the total amount due to get it down to around, $2,000, maybe even less to get the whole thing wiped out. But you're gonna seek to go ahead and reduce it. So SSA 632 form, that's going to be your next step. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect, good sir. I'm going to keep things rolling. Call me next week with an update, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, good sir. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, I'm going to do... here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Please remember to use your fake name throughout this process. Also, would you like me to answer a specific question or run hearing questions with you?
A specific question, please.
Yes, good sir. How can I help?
Yes, I've been on SSDI for 2 years.
Okay.
For an autoimmune disorder is the number one thing. And I got hit with a CDR recently, and when I called in to see if I needed to make an appointment to go into the SSA building, or if I had to mail the forms in, they connected me with a gentleman there that does the reviews, and he started to ask me questions, which I didn't really feel comfortable answering. I told him I would submit the forms back in and answer the questions, so I had time to put it down, although he did fill out some of the form. And so they submitted off. I have 15 additional pages to the CDR on the long review that I submitted about my daily activities and my limitation. And basically my question is, he says that if I get a denial in the review, that I call him back and he'll help me with the appeals process.
Okay.
And so my question is I don't know whether it's smart to trust them over there, or at that point, I've heard you only have 10 days to respond or you'll lose your benefits. So I don't know, is it safe to talk to them and have him file the appeal process, or is that a time to retain another attorney like I did the first time?
So real quick, I got to jump in. A gentleman, GXY, uppercase G, lowercase x, uppercase Y, just donated to the program $185.20. That absolutely blows me away. If you meant to donate a small amount, that's totally fine. I'll figure out how to do the donation back or refund, whatever it is. But that's the largest amount anybody has ever donated to the show. So I really, really do appreciate it. If it wasn't the amount you meant to do, that's totally fine too. But that blows my mind. Yeah, the money is literally that I get from these donations goes to feed my dogs, who are asleep right now with little, chubby bellies that are filled with treats and all kinds of good stuff. And that just, wow. Yeah, they are fat doggies. That's why they're asleep right now. That's actually how I trick them to go ahead and sleep, is I overfeed them on Thursday nights so that they'll just fall asleep. And I usually use burgers and things like that. But good sir, I really, really, really appreciate that. That blows my mind away. Nobody's ever donated that much. That's huge. That's really big. So let me help this gentleman out real quick. Okay, so good sir, I was blown away there a little bit, so I got off track. What is the type of claim again? Let's do the basics. We're just going to bullet point it though. What's the type of claim issue?
Okay, so it's SSDI with an autoimmune inflammatory condition, and I'm going through a CDR.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the gentleman at the SSA building tells me that if I get denied, that I can go ahead and complete the appeals process through him.
Okay.
And so the biggest question is they're asking me questions, and I don't know if I can trust them to be answering these questions, or if I should retain an attorney if I get denied on my CDR, or if I can go ahead and just give them the information they're requesting and file the appeal through them.
So basically, you have a couple of options for appealing. You can appeal over the phone, you can appeal online, you can appeal basically in paper form using a 3441 561, which will get you into reconsideration. If you're already at reconsideration, I think it's like a 501 3441 option for an appeal. The bottom line is this: if I were you, what I would do is I would buddy up with somebody. I mean, you could always, call me next week or whatever, or just buddy up with somebody that's in the industry to get them to look through a paper 3441 that you fill out, because you're going to want to see what kind of phrases, what kind of changes in wording that you want to do when sending that in. Because remember, it's also, one of those things to understand that when you talk to the SSA, and this is a tough thing, a lot of people don't know this, when you talk to the SSA, there's an inherent bias that basically occurs, because when they talk to you, they're trying to get their thing done, go fast, go fast, go fast, get it done, get to the next thing that they had an appointment for that was 20 minutes ago. So they'll be like, okay, do you have any issues with this? No, cool. Do you have any issues with this? No, cool. Any new medication? No, cool. Any new medical treatment? Okay, no, cool, good, next. They're going to slip through that. For your form, you're in a CDR, which means what happens is the medical improvement standard applies. And that's a rule where basically they adjudicate you under the rules of when you were found disabled. So long as there's no medical improvement, you get to stay on disability benefits. But it's so easy to beat that rule. That's what most people don't realize, is that to beat the medical, improvement standard, they just need some CE doctor as part of their 8-step sequential process, 8 elements for a CDR, 8 elements for a CDR. They just have to find some doctor that's going to say, hey, a little bit better, and that's a specialist. Oh, that's very good. That's very high up on the chain, and go through these things that basically, I did it like my mom would do it. But all these things in the chain that would essentially make it so that you just slightly improved enough to say, well, now it's in question. We don't know how good or how bad he really is. Now, in your case, I've got to ask, it's an autoimmune situation. So let me just get right to it. Are you mostly just going in for medication upkeep treatment, reviews with your doctor, or are you going in for more like, full-on medical treatment, things are not working, the medication isn't keeping you stable, things like that?
Well, see, that's one of the things that has me concerned, because I have about 12 diagnoses, but the main one that I see a rheumatologist for, and I have to go see him every 6 months, and it is for blood work, medication update, but it's also to update him on the wheelchair he prescribed to me, the shower chair that I'm using, but I haven't been to see any other doctors for the other 10 diagnosis. It's just this main one that's got me really bad, the inflammatory arthritis. The other ones I have medication. So I don't know if you would exactly call it medication upkeep or not, but I have to go in and talk to him about how the wheelchair is working out, how the medication, and on a lot of my reports he puts that the disease is stable. He doesn't put that it's not improved or improved, he just puts it stable. And I'm only 40 years old, and so that's why I'm worried that they're going to either want to do a CE or I'm going to get denied. And a lot of it's due to COVID. Some of my symptoms I have not, or my diagnosis I have not gotten treatment for because, COVID, if I catch it, the medication I'm on suppresses my autoimmune system, and so I just kind of have to stay indoors all the time. Right now, but there was nowhere on the form that it asked that, but I did submit an additional 15 pages to the CDR answering questions because they don't give me enough room to answer it.
Can I make a So
go ahead.
So I don't know if it would just be
upkeep or not?
So here's what I would do if I were you. I'm going to give you the general things for improvement to make sure that you submit them. I don't know if you already put them in with the 15 pages you submitted, which is awesome. People that have more to say usually do a pretty good job. Sometimes they step on their foot, but still, that's very good. Here's what I need you to do. When you submit additional documentation for the appeal, because let's call it like it is. There was a denial. They said you weren't severe enough. Now you're going to reconsideration. Now you're appealing. So now you got to nail this thing home, because otherwise they're going to try and take away your benefits. So here's the bottom line. Number one, your impairment is more severe than it was when you were initially found disabled. And you need to basically figure out how to make that go on paper with whatever is going on in your life, whether it's more ambulatory devices, more medications, more symptoms, more side effects, whatever. You need to figure out how to answer specifically how your impairment is more severe than when you were found disabled. Let's talk about symptoms. You got to have symptoms to go ahead and show that your impairment causes you limitations in a vocational setting so that you are work preclusive for a full-time job environment via the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, which is the book they use at the SSA. So here's what you need. When you go ahead and go through this process, your impairments and any auxiliary impairments need to have a lot, and I mean a lot, of symptoms. Symptoms are things that cause you to have an inability to go ahead and function. What kind of functioning? Functioning at work and functioning at home. Work activities, getting along with others, completing things that you start, being able to process paperwork, type on a computer, hold things in general, pick things up, put things down. At home activities, cooking, cleaning, laundry, transportation, picking up things from the supermarket. You have to be able to show how your symptoms limit your ability to do those functional tasks. So what I would do is I would write out every functional task you used to be able to do on a daily basis and every functional task that you can do nowadays. And I would go ahead and write each one of those symptoms that you have under each one of those bullet pointed functional tasks. That's your beginning point. That's how you start to build your claim to show you have an inability to do work activities and home activities. That's the beginning to show how your impairment has become more severe. Now, here's the next thing. When it comes to side effects of medications, you got to look them all up. You got to see which ones you have, which ones you don't have. You got to figure out which ones basically which ones have gotten worse. And you got to go ahead and talk to your doctor and say, look, my medications aren't working as well as they used to. Here are all my side effects that are coming from them. As a result of that, I would like you to modify my medications, which means one of two things. Number one, they're going to swap the medications out. Or number two, they're going to change the dosage. Or three, they might do a combination deal where they, modify and give you a little different, yada, yada. But the bottom line, it's those two things. If you got those two things going for you, that's a good sign that your impairment has gotten worse, because if your impairment has gotten worse, you get to stay on disability benefits. Now, let me tell you a little thing about this. It's not just that you will lose your benefits. And I'm going to freak you out a little bit. I don't mean to do it, but I have to do it because it's important. It's not that you will just lose your benefits. It's that when you go to fight for your benefits later down the line, right? You get denied, you go to appeals council, you get denied, you go to federal district court, you get denied, you decide I'm not going any higher. Maybe you go to circuit, maybe you go to Supreme Court. But at some point you lose and you go, what am I going to do? At that point, you are now being held to the new standards of medical evidence required to show that you are severe to almost extremely disabled. And that's the real problem. You don't want to be in that situation. A lot of people that got benefits 5 years ago, 7 years ago, it was easy. It was so much easier than what we have today. But nowadays, with the new rules, which is what they'll adjudicate you by with the new situation, if you get denied and don't keep going, those new rules are far more difficult to be found disabled on. You got to watch out for those.
Okay, so I've got two more questions for you.
Sure.
One is, if in the review there was not a section that asked me about my medication side effects. It did ask me, medication, why it was prescribed, and what doctor, but none of the side effects. So my first question is I've already submitted everything. It's fresh. fresh. You know, I haven't heard back from them. But A, should I write up one of those and submit that anyways? And number two is when I submitted my paperwork the first time, usually SSA would print me out a receipt, and this time they would not give me a receipt. Have you ever heard of that, and is that normal?
So when you submitted it, you didn't get a read receipt, correct?
Correct.
And they didn't send you one a week to 2 weeks later, correct?
Correct.
That's odd. That's odd. It could be that they're backed up. You might get one a month after that date. That is a little bit odd. Yes, you should be writing that up. You should also be keeping a journal of the side effects that you experience throughout the day and submitting that, because that's usually worth a little bit more than just regular subjective evidence, because it's like a combination of objective evidence and subjective evidence, because you're creating something as a continuous repetitive product as opposed to it just being a statement in time where you could be lying. So in that regard, you should be creating some sort of timeline-based journal to explain when you're experiencing side effects and symptoms.
Okay. As far as all the other things, I did go through that. I have a list of everything that it affects. That's why it amounted to that, plus some doctor's appointment. So my last question is that if I do end up getting denied and the gentleman at the SSA tells me, you know, you can file the appeal with me, that's no problem, do I trust them enough to file it with them, or at that point should I go out and obtain an attorney?
So here's the kicker you're going to run into. You're a CDR, but you're still getting a check every month, which means that no attorney is going to take on the claim until you've lost your benefits, because the attorneys get paid from the payments that you're currently receiving on a monthly basis. So the bottom line is this. In order for an attorney to go ahead and help you out, they're going to have to see you lose your benefits first. But what I would do is this. Look, if you want to go ahead and write up a 3441 and create that evidence we talked about, email it to me and then call me back next Thursday, because you got basically 65 days to appeal. I'll take a look at it live on the show, and I'll give you my suggestions that you can always change, modify, etc. as you see necessary.
Okay. Okay. And if I end up getting that in the meantime, before, if I end up getting a decision and I want to appeal it within the 10 days, and knowing that you might have to pay that back, is it smart to appeal it, or is it better just to drop the whole claim and start over so you can get help with an attorney?
You have to go ahead and appeal this thing, because you are, all right, how many years ago were you found disabled?
2016.
All right, so 2017, the rules, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, that's when I filed, but I didn't get approved until 2018.
Okay, but what was your alleged onset date?
2016.
All right, the rules went to shit, and I mean the bottom of the toilet swirling around and into the creek. That in 2017, which means your claim exists without any of the new crap evidence rules, mental rules, musculoskeletal rules, SGA rules. None of the changes are going to affect you. You have to win. You have to win, because if you don't, and you try and start this thing over, you're starting over with all the new bad rules.
Okay.
Let me put it to you this way. When they put in Commissioner Saul, he changed everything to make it a more efficient and aggressive program. The problem with doing that is he made it way harder for people to be found disabled. So the point is, you got to win this so that you don't have to deal with Commissioner Saul's rule changes.
Okay, well, I think that about answers all my questions.
Perfect. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Thank you for everything you do and all your videos and your time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, good sir. Have a wonderful night. And don't forget to shoot me an email with that stuff, and then we'll review it next week.
Okay, will do.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a 30-second break. And the 30-second break, and we're gonna get this other person live. We have another person. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live right now, but we are taking a 30-second break to go ahead. Can you hear me okay? No, I guess not. Okay, cool. We'll get another phone call. We're going to take a 30-second break so I can let Sweetie in from the outside. Here we go, guys. I'll be right back. And we're back. That was exciting. Did you enjoy the halftime show? All right, here we go. We're now taking a call. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name. And would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you? Oh, and remember to mute the computer. Nope. Did I lose you? Oh, that's not the. He muted the phone and ended the phone. So all right, no biggie. Bottom line, guys, if you want to call me right now for me to go ahead and answer questions relating to Social Security disability benefits, that is the phone number. I'm going to try calling back that gentleman real quick to give him a chance while basically Sweetie and Shadow work out their differences on the couch. Here we go. Let me see what we got over here. Let me scroll to the top. There he is. Here we go. Perfect. Let's see if we can get him on the phone. It is ringing. You guys know how this works. Rings a couple of times, then we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. Go ahead and mute the computer or the TV that I'm on right now, and then we'll go ahead and begin the process of answering your question. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process, and also, whatchamacallit, make sure that, well, actually, would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you?
I'd like you to answer a specific question.
Yes, ma'am. How can I help you?
I've been on SSDI since about 2009.
Okay.
My ex-husband is about to retire, and I awarded 50% of his pension.
Sure.
How would that affect my SSDI?
Okay, so you got options here where you can basically take a portional amount as, well, let's see. He's going to, so he's becoming either disabled, dying, or retired, which means that you could potentially take.
He's retiring. It's a private pension.
Oh, it's a
The company
private
that he works
pension.
with. Yeah, it's not a state pension.
Oh, so you're not talking about what could you potentially take from his benefits through the Retirement Title II option. You're talking about how is his private pension going to affect your current SSDI benefits?
Correct.
Okay, cool, awesome. All right, all right. Look, here's the deal. Now wait, so how much are you receiving from his pension?
I should receive about, it's around $1,600.
Now he's receiving that, or you're just receiving that from his pension?
We will both get about the same amount.
So he's getting $1,600 and you're getting $1,600.
Correct.
All right, let me see something. What do you know what the pension type is?
You mean Teamsters? It's a local.
Yeah.
710.
All right, let me see if I can look that up. I don't know, and I don't think that that would be affected because it's not an earned income. But the question is, as an unearned income, is it still countable? All right, so
he told me that I'm still going to have to pay taxes on it when I get it.
No, yeah, that you will. But your real question is, will it reduce your SSDI benefits on a monthly amount down to a smaller amount? All right, look, I'm going to say no. I don't think it will. But don't hold me to it, because I have gotten my butt kicked on private pensions, specifically from the New York and New Jersey people that have like the firemen's pensions and stuff like that, where there was some weird little crazy federal rule that existed nowhere else but there. I've gotten my butt kicked on that. So what I would say is I don't believe it will. It's not going to count against you for SGA purposes. It is not earned income. I don't think it's countable non-earned income. But I would just be careful. And here's why. I would get a copy of the pension to find out how they are characterizing the payments that he'll be receiving. Because sometimes people will call it a pension. Sometimes people will call it a pension because that's what everybody else calls it, even though it's not a pension. Sometimes people will call it a pension, and it was never correctly set up as a pension, and therefore it's not considered that, and all of a sudden now it's considered earned income. So I would just do this. My suggestion is to get a copy of it and then basically look through how they are specifying what these payments are. And the only reason I'm saying this is it shouldn't normally make a difference, but I have gotten my butt kicked on that, where all of a sudden there's some weird little rule where it was some state, county, or federal-based, thing where that was considered countable and specially taxable when it normally would not be. Because look, if you were like, hey, this is a private company and blah, 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 but you're not saying that. You're saying this is part of some sort of thing that was likely tied to the county or the state. What type of work was he doing?
No, he works for a trucking company, and it's not tied to the state, according to what he's telling me.
All right, it probably won't affect it then. It probably won't affect it. However, just be careful, because I've gotten nipped on these before. You should be okay, though. You should be okay. Because remember, you're SSDI. You're not an SSI. You're an SSDI. They're mostly worried about earned income, SGA limitations, $1,310 per month. That stuff's not going to apply to you. This is an unearned income that is hopefully not countable.
Okay. All right, great.
Perfect. Do you have any additional questions for me?
I do, if you don't mind. I have one more.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm also part of a class action lawsuit against the USPS.
Okay.
For some incidents that happened when I worked with the post office before I became disabled, which is part of why I'm on disability at this point.
Okay.
So if that comes through, does that affect to the pension, or can they take some of that money from the SSDI?
So, all right, once again, same kind of gig. When you have settlements or lawsuits that come down, there's different types of ways that they look at it. If it's for like blood and guts, you know what I mean, where it's just making you whole, then it's calculated differently. If it's like a payment to you, where you're receiving payment of something, like it's like an income, then if it's an income, then they're going to count it as such against the SGA amount. Here's the thing. SSDI, it's not a big deal either way. You might get nipped for 1 month, and here's why. Okay, at the end of the day, if you receive a bunch of money in a settlement, then they're going to say, oh, you weren't eligible for SSDI benefits in that month, if it was countable income. Okay. And then the next month, that becomes a resource, and then they don't care because it's SSDI benefits, which means that you get bit for 1 month, but then you'll be fine. And then you get to keep that in the bank. You're living the dream life is good. A lot of people don't realize you could literally win the lottery the month before you get disability benefits for SSDI and still be fine. You could then win the lottery 5 months into SSDI, but you just wouldn't be eligible for that month in which you won those benefits.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Thank you.
Perfect, madam. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Thank you. I appreciate you calling me back.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Please remember to use a fake name, and also, very super duper important, as we go through this process, would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions? And just remember to mute the computer. Here we go. Go ahead.
Yes, hold on. I'm trying to mute you right now.
Perfect. Take your time.
I have a couple questions. I'm receiving a DI, and I got it in 19.
Okay.
I was awarded in 19. And I have a super question. Can I go outside the country?
Okay, so 2019 you received, was it SSI?
2019.
Yep, 2019. Was it SSI or SSDI?
DI.
Okay.
That's when I won. I won in 18, and it was awarded, and I got the award in 19.
Okay, so this question is actually kind of complicated. They don't like it when you're outside of the country for more than 1 month. However, they're not going to know unless somebody tips them off to it. So, and I can't say that you can do this. I can say that you can't. Look, so this is more of a conversation that should be not on YouTube, if you know what I mean. But here's what I would say, and you can always try and reach me throughout the week or whatever, but here's what I would say. There are certain countries that have international agreements that are shared with the U.S. about benefit sharing or being allowed to be someplace and still receive benefits. There are specific types of geographic areas that are even possessions of the United States, which all have different rules. An example of that would be Puerto Rico. An example of another one that's totally different than Puerto Rico, but is still a possession, but has totally different rules, would be the U.S. Virgin Islands. So if we were to, I'm not saying tell me over this where you're going, but if you were to be moving to a possession, different rules would apply. If you're moving to a non-possession, but with contractual obligation through an international agreement, then different rules would apply. If you're moving to a country that has no contractual obligation through an international agreement, but is still okay with the U.S., different rules apply. If you're moving to a country that is not on good terms with the U.S., then even more different rules apply. So this depends on where you're going. It depends on how long you're going to be out of the country. It depends on the current status of that country with the U.S. based on historic international agreements that have been signed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How much money can you have in the bank?
For SSDI, I mean, as much as you want. You could have $1 billion in the bank. I mean, you could have $1 trillion. If you have $1 trillion, I would like to introduce you to how to save every animal on Earth. But yeah, no, that's you could if you could have $1 trillion. Yeah, so, yeah, indeed. So yeah.
Okay. My other question is, how like the DI, when does it turn to retirement? Like social, when does it turn to Social Security?
So
what age?
Yeah, so there's a magic fairy with a wand that lives at the SSA, and she carefully watches when everybody basically turns full retirement. So there's early retirement 62, full retirement 66, 67, and maximum retirement, which is when you turn into a superhero like Captain Planet, but better at 70 years old. And so what happens is when you reach full retirement, that 66, 67 era, the magical fairy that has a wand at the SSA that carefully watches people will automatically transition SSDI over to retirement. And at that point, you'll take full retirement without any penalization because you're on SSDI all the way through 62 through the 67, 66 full retirement.
Okay. Now now you're saying if you take early at 62, what does that do to your benefits?
You won't. You'll stay on SSDI all the way through to full retirement. You do not switch from SSDI to retirement at early retirement. You ride SSDI until the wheels fall off, and the wheels fall off at 66, 67, whatever your full retirement will be.
Okay, full retirement. So full retirement, you have to go to 67, 66.
Yeah, whatever your full retirement is. Like, how old are you right now?
Okay, you want me to?
Well,
56.
56, yeah. So you're probably in the 67 category for people who are going to be retiring at that point. So the bottom line is, you know what I mean? You just early 67 area. That's when you're going to be transitioning from SSDI over to retirement. You're not going to notice much of a difference either. The Medicare is already there. The payments are going to be similar. You're not going to notice much of a change.
Okay, it doesn't go down or go up. It just stays the same, right?
Sometimes it does, but those are unique situations. Most of the time, it's just a continuous. It stays the same.
Okay. My other question is, do you, if I decided to have to try to have a business, what happens?
And you're on SSDI benefits, you got to be super careful. That's where the SGI rules come out. I do a lot of appeals council claims based on SGA for self-employed business owners. Here's what happens. When you are self-employed, the SSA has all these rules and regulations in place to say that what you're doing, even though you're not making full SGA amount, but what you're doing is worth more than substantial gainful activity, which allows them to kick you off the benefits or not make you eligible in the first place. One of the worst things you can do when you're on disability benefits is start your own company and not be on a ticket to work program. Most ticket to work programs, you're doing an employee gig. So the bottom line is you can start one, But just keep in mind, they have a lot of ammunition that they can use to get you kicked off of the benefit program by saying you meet, equal, or exceed SGA, and you have for multiple months in a row.
Right, I got you. I understand. Like I was curious as I was thinking about my children. I was trying to figure out if I could do something for my children so that they would have a legacy. I just thinking, you know.
How old are your children? Give me a roundabout date, or like years.
Almost 30 and elementary. I have 5.
All right. So if one of them's around 30, the company should be opened in his name or her name.
Okay, I got it.
But remember, and as an attorney, I still have to say, you have to notify the SSA when you have changed your work status, yada, 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 because they have to be aware if you're potentially earning more. And let me explain why this is. I get a call once a year from basically, law enforcement, pretty high up too, saying, Attorney Knott, you've started representing this individual. We have this evidence that we'd like to go over with you pertaining to their work history, where they're claiming that they weren't working, and we believe that they are. And then I have to have that conversation with them. So just be aware, and I have to represent my client. They get to represent themselves, being the federal government that likes to, sometimes play God. Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Even if I'm not, if I don't receive any, if I'm not being paid by my children.
Yeah, even if you're not being paid, they can say that you were working at SGA or above levels. That's all the rules that they have. Basically, say that if it looks like you're doing something which equates to, doing work at a higher level, they can say, "Well, you do this many hours a week. Well, we're saying even though you don't earn that money, we think you do earn that money, and therefore we're going to attribute to you full SGA amounts."
Wow, that's kind of, even though I can't get around and do it, but if
it's skeezy. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's not. I just was trying to look out for thinking about my children, like, I can't work anymore, like, but I could create something for them. But I see it's set to make you stay or make you run.
Well, it's set to keep you poor. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's not good. Okay, I guess now living in another. I wasn't really thinking on living. I was just thinking like going and visiting and coming back and like that. That's what I was planning on trying to do. Just do something. I was tired of staying in the house,
Yeah, I got you. Look, there's a lot of opportunities outside of the United States. The United States used to be the land of opportunities. It also used to be the land of freedom. It's neither of those now. So if you want to do something and change the lives of your kids to set them up for success, it is extremely difficult to do that when most people who are owning businesses get charged 1/3 of their earnings to go to taxes. So you're probably going to have to seek some sort of opportunity or benefit outside of the country.
Exactly. I think that's what a lot of business people, that's what I'm starting to, as I sit here and learn, I'm starting to see that, like, everybody's out. But somehow, some way, they have an LLC somewhere else. I did not know it was like that. They have an LLC here in Las Vegas, and then they outside of the country. I didn't know all of this. I just started learning all this year.
Sure, absolutely. So,
well, thank you. I think you answered all my questions. I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You have a wonderful day, and I appreciate the work you do. I started watching you about a month ago, and I think actually more than that, 2 months ago, and I'm proud that there's somebody like you out on the internet helping folks like this.
Absolutely, good sir. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
God bless you, brother.
You as well. Bye bye. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live right now on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name. Would you like me to go ahead and answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you?
I have more than one question, please.
Okay.
Thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
Okay. I applied on my own and without any legal counsel, and I've been through about a 17-month of battle, but I was determined to be disabled via SSI only, lacking 1 credit to 3 credits, depending on who tells me. So it's SSI.
Mm-hmm.
And I have experienced many problems. They lost my file. It was sent out of state. It goes on and on from there.
Okay.
However, I've never been assigned a caseworker through the area local office that I'm supposed to go through. And once they told me that I was found disabled, I went through the interview about, my assets and so on and income, which I met that 3 months ago. I am a dire need marked case, and I went through a lot of abuse, verbal abuse by them, and they haven't sent any cent yet.
All right, so let's go through this real quick. SSDI was a no-go. SSI was a go. So no Title II, yes Title 16. You didn't have a rep at the local FO. You basically have fought with them for 17 months. Now that you have SSI, you were approved, but you have not received a cent yet. What was the date in which you were approved for SSI?
They're telling me August 21st of this year.
Okay.
Now.
So August 21st is basically a month ago, and it usually takes a month and 1 week to actually start receiving your back pay and your forward pay for SSI. But remember, for your back pay, you're only going to get 3 months worth of the first check. You'll wait 6 months, get 3 months worth of the next check. Wait 6 months, and you'll get your final big check. So the bottom line is, putting it simply, you still got about another week for them to go ahead and, you're right around starting to receive your payments. So. Now, did you do your pre-effectuation interview over the phone?
That was a big word for me, but I've done everything by phone. Yes, that is correct.
Did they do an interview where they asked you who you were living with, what you're up to, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking quickly. I know your time is so valuable. Yes, I went through that in August, and she said that I would have the money in 1 to 3 days, and then when I didn't, I've been in a never-ending circle trying to get back to anyone.
So
because my rent is due tomorrow, car payments piled up, you know how that goes.
Yeah. And
I'm in my 60s, and I truly am disabled, more than one disability. So I'll be quiet so you can help.
So
I don't know where the accountability is. So for these Social Security employees, or if there is any.
So what happens now is, it takes usually a month and a week, not 3 days to be getting a check. So I don't know why they told you 3 days, but that's probably somebody new. The SSA at the local field offices has had a lot of people quit, get fired, just stop being there when the whole COVID thing hit. They sought at-home work jobs. So kind of the bottom line here that you need to know is that you'll probably be getting a check within this week or next week or the week thereafter. That's within the timeline of what they usually require for SSI benefits for back pay and forward pay. Now, who makes the SSA accountable at the local field office? That would be the regional field office. So what state are you based in?
Louisiana.
Okay, let me look at a USA map real quick. Yeah. So,
and I have contacted my congressman's office, by the way, but I have not signed off on it and mailed it back yet.
Yeah, that's pretty much useless. They can't do anything other than send a letter. They used to be able to do stuff about 7, 8 years ago, but now it's just they send a template letter out, and then basically from there, the SSA responds with the template letter, and that's pretty much the whole gig. But let me see what I can find. You might be part of, yeah, you're part of the Dallas regional office. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm going to give you an email where you can email the person about the issue. Let me know when you're ready to write it down.
Okay, I'm ready. Thank you.
You got it. It is ERIK.CRUMB@ssa.gov.
Thank you very much.
Indeed, but let me give you
Now-
a phone number real quick before we pop off to the next thing. Hold on, because that way you've
Okay.
got two options. Dallas Regional Office, SSA. Let's see what we got here. There's the director. That's not who we want, though. Okay, their phone number is, oh no, wait, that's not it. Hold on. Dallas Regional SSA Field Office. I want this one, and then there's her. I'm not sure if this is it, but use this phone number. It's, I don't think that's it though. Well, at 1-800-772-1213. Let me just see if I can find, here it is. Here it is. All right, are you watching the chat area?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Well, no, I turned my internet off, so
Oh, okay.
turned everything off.
All right, so here's the person that is in charge of public affairs on behalf of the Louisiana Regional Office, which is in, you know,
Okay.
so this is the person you need. It is 888-850-2232, extension 18040, and her email is Maria, dot Alvarez, ALVAREZ, @ssa.gov.
ALV, is this in the chat where I can see it later?
I will put it in the chat right now. Give me 1 second, really.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I can't write that
Yeah,
quickly.
no worries. That's the person that you want to go ahead and reach out to and say, I've got a problem with the local FO. I need to know about payment details. The other thing you can always do is contact the local FO and ask them for the manager there to go ahead and basically get you what's going on in your account.
I did that, and the manager looked, and the person who did whatever you called that review, my financial review, left, didn't put any notes in the file.
Oh, God.
So,
wow, that's...
I mean, it just goes to bad doors. I'm beside myself in every which way. And it seems as if they all, the way they cover for one another is terrible, and I fear retaliation because what do I have to lose at this point? They're causing me to lose everything.
You need the regional office. Yeah, that's okay. Reach out to the regional office. They'll then reach back to them. And basically, the regional office is there as the stopgap check to make sure that the local field office does what they're supposed to do.
Thank you. And if I may, when I spoke with them the day before yesterday, someone was supposed to call me back yesterday. No one did. Today, no one did. So, same thing. Problems like that all the way through. But anyway, I did go online to myssa.gov, and it finally says 100% complete. It says I should begin with a benefit of $794. So I'm sorry, my benefits should begin in September, and it's $0. But verbally, they told me, it's $794 and owed X number of dollars in back pay.
Well, what I would say is this. I mean, they might try to use the in-kind support and maintenance rule on you, which is not good. What I would say is this: contact the regional office, see when the payments are going to begin, what's going on, and if they try and pay you less than that, then start to research the in-kind support and maintenance 1/3 reduction rule.
Oh, That's what the income support maintenance rule is.
Yeah, that's
what
where.
you just said.
Yeah, that's where they try to bump you down to like $500, reduce it by 1/3 because somebody is helping you.
No, in my case, I have no one helping me. Really, I don't. And I did, however, have some rental assistance through the COVID help that was available, and I stated that to them. But from what I've read, they can't count rental assistance, or can they, as income or
They don't
help
usually. Yeah, they don't usually.
Okay. I don't know what else it could be. And the fact that they don't care. They will not follow up.
Well, they never call people back for the most part. I mean, they might here and there, but it's very rare for them to call back or to reach back out to you. So I always tell people, don't expect they're going to call you back. You have to call back the next day over and over and over again.
Okay, and finally, thank you so much. The protective file date that I learned about recently.
Sure.
They had initially, when I was approved, it was correct, and now it's being listed as 4 months later that my disability began, November of last year, because of SSI. So does protective apply to SSI?
No, of course it does. It applies for SSI, SSDI. But here's the thing. You might need an attorney because it sounds like somebody screwed up at the local FO. They're trying to just figure out a way to fix it, and now they're not sure what to do, or they're just putting in whatever they can to go ahead and push it through. So just get it working, and then you might need an attorney to go and fix it.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So much, everybody. Take care of you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, so we are at 9:46. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to do one more phone call, and then I'm going to go sleep. You can see me retired. Here we go. Here's the last phone call. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you? Yes, good sir. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can. Thank you. I appreciate you and all that you did. I've got a question for you. I had to go in front of and do a medical scheme.
Okay.
And during the process when we first started, they had a separate person asking a bunch of questions. And unfortunately, one of the questions that was asked was, can you drive? And how long can you drive? And the response that I gave was, around an hour. They gave me a multiple choice, 20 minutes, an hour. I was like, maybe an hour. Unfortunately, that was the incorrect answer. I haven't really driven for any distance for over a year and a half. I sold a car.
Okay.
Never really drive. So my question really is there a way to recant at this point or to reach out to the adjudicator and let them know that the answer that I gave was not quite what it should be, or am I just pretty much stuck with the answer that was given?
So, okay, you need a statement from you on an SSA 795. You need a statement from a doctor on their own form that has their logo on the form, and basically stating that you have an inability to go ahead and do driving for that period of time. Also, make sure you mute the computer that you're watching me on, otherwise we get that repeated feedback stuff. But basically, yeah, so you're going to need an SSA 795 statement from you. You're going to need a statement from a doctor that basically says that, essentially, putting it very simply, you are unable to sit for that period of time, you're unable to turn your neck appropriately, you're unable to go ahead and focus, follow directions, whatever, and therefore could not drive for that extended period of time.
Okay, that's great. And do I have to give any other details as far as, the questioning was very fast and hurried, or just be very simple, plain and direct?
Well, I mean, you know, you want to have some explanation in there as to why you originally stated that. You know, did you mean you could be sitting in the car for an extended period while not driving? Did you mean you could only be driving under the most perfect standard scenario where there were no bumps? It was all low speed. There was no turns. You know, yes, you would want to go into those details for sure.
Okay. Okay, that's perfect. That answers my question. I appreciate you.
Perfect. I'm going to go to sleep. Good sir, you have a wonderful night.
Thank you, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Alrighty, bye-bye. Okay, guys, so we have made it, and just so you know, my brain was starting to kind of falafel there, but we've made it now to almost 10 o'clock. I'm super duper tired. I'm going to catch you a little bit later. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. I want to thank everybody for partaking in everything, especially uppercase GXY, who donated $185.20, which just blows my mind. That still blows my mind. I can't even believe that. That's the most anybody's ever donated to the show. So I really, really appreciate it. The doggies are going to be getting lots of treats. I hope you guys are all well. I will catch up with you a little bit later, and we'll go from there. Please remember to treat yourself well. Please remember to fight the good fight for the SSI Restoration Act, for the Social Security Disability 2100 Act. These are all things that are going to make your lives a heck of a lot better. I'll catch you later. You have a wonderful night. Thank you so much, and we'll go from there. Bye-bye, guys. Have fun.